Hello, my name is Victor, and in today's video, I want to talk about 3 strategies that I personally use to help save me money. I don't want to waste any time on this one, so let's get right into it with strategy number 1, the envelope method. And this strategy is where as soon as you get paid, you immediately withdraw specific amounts that are going to go to specific budgets. What do I mean by that? Let me first start off by telling you a personal story of when I got started learning about personal finance. There is nothing in this world that I like less than thinking I have more money than I actually have. And this was a very common theme when I was first getting started with personal finance, because I would look at my bank account, I would say, great, I have more money than I thought. And I would either go out somewhere or buy something only to find out in 2 weeks I needed that chunk of money for my car insurance, for example. Terrible stuff. And that is how I came across this first strategy, the envelope method. It is incredibly useful for whenever you have recurring and set amounts, such as your car insurance, your car payment, or if you have rent or a mortgage. It's amounts that you know are going to be due every single month, and the amount for the most part won't change. And to drive the point home, let's go through a very specific example. Let's say hypothetically you have a $560 car payment due every month. And let's say you get paid every week. Give yourself 4 weeks in a month. That would mean that you need to withdraw $140 a week and set that money aside for your car payment. And I'm talking literally get an envelope, write on it, car payment, and then you put those $140 in that envelope every single week as soon as you get paid. This way, when your due date rolls around, because it eventually will, it always does, you will already have that money set aside. It's already in cash, ready to go to get that payment taken care of. It takes away so much stress every single month because you know that money is already accounted for. Strategy number 2, and that is going to be zero-based budgeting. And that is where you assign every single dollar of income that you make to a specific category. And do not overcomplicate this. Keep it incredibly simple so that you're not stressing about your system that's supposed to help you not stress about your personal finances. Let me give you my personal example. I use 4 categories to divide my income into. The first category that I use are bills. These are non-negotiable, must be paid every month, and usually the amount does not change month after month. For example, my car payment, my car insurance, rent, and I personally like to throw in utilities here as well. Category number 2 are controllable expenses. And just as the name would imply, this is a category for potentially bills, but it is something that you have control over. Let's say like subscriptions. You don't have to have that subscription. You can cancel it whenever you want. I would also throw in gas into this category because you can control how often you drive and how long you drive. And also groceries would be thrown into this category. Yes, you have to eat, but you can control how much money you're spending on food every single month. And it's not set in stone. Everybody's personal finances are going to be a little bit different. I like to have my utilities in the bills category. You might say, well, that amount changes month after month, so I'm going to move it into the controllable expenses side. Perfectly fair. I like to have utilities in the bills category because I live in the southern United States and it is summertime right now, and you cannot go a day without having the air conditioning on. I am personally married and have 2 small boys, so if I do not have that thermostat set at least 72 when it's 90 plus degrees outside, I'm going to be dealing with some very cranky toddlers, and I won't hear the end of it from my wife either. You have to pick your battles. My third category is for fun. You have to live a little bit. I'm not one of those people who would recommend penny pinching and saving every single dollar that you make. No, you have to spend money on things that you enjoy. So in this category, it's basically anything that isn't a bill. So eating out, buying stuff on Amazon, you name it, it's in this category. And the only caveat here is you have to watch this category carefully. Say that 5 times fast. Because this is usually the category that gets people in trouble. Because then you don't set aside money for the final category, and that is savings and investments. Ideally, your monthly income should be a higher number than the sum of these four categories. If you are spending more than you make, then immediately you know that you have to make some changes. So let's see who's paying attention here. Let's see here. You in the white t-shirt in the front. What category are we going to look at first if we are spending more than we are making? If you said the savings and investment category, this is exactly why you're watching this video. Absolutely not. We are not going to decrease saving and investments. Ideally, that should be going higher year after year. The first category that I would look at is the fun category. Try to bring that number down any which way you can. The second category that I would have a look at is the controllable expenses. And here again, you could probably cut out 2 or 3 subscriptions every month and you wouldn't even notice. Now, I know I said I was gonna give you 3 strategies, but I also want to throw in a bonus here. But before we get to that, if you have made it this far into the video, be sure to give me a like. It helps me tremendously. And also, if you wanna leave a comment below, let me know what you think. Have you tried any of these strategies, or are you going to start using some of them in the future? And y'all know how much I love to throw wisdom in here and talk about books that I have read that have helped me throughout my journey. So here's another one for you, Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad's Guide to Investing. In this book, Robert Kiyosaki talks about how things were different during the industrial age. Back then, it really wasn't so much on the person, the individual, to focus on their retirement, because the employer and the government would basically do it for you. Think of times like pension funds, where if you worked for your employer for a certain amount of time, they would basically guarantee your retirement. But the reason that changed is people started to live a lot longer, so that has gone the way of the dinosaurs. And we are now in a new age, the information age. And I completely agree with Robert Kiyosaki's view here, because just like you are watching this video trying to learn new information, you have to apply this style of thinking to your financial planning as well. You cannot depend on somebody else, because at the end of the day, at the age of retirement, if you have not set aside a nest egg for something that you can depend on, you will have to work for money until your last day. And I don't know about you, but that to me sounds incredibly depressing. And in the book, Robert Kiyosaki states, "The rules have changed. In today's information age, most of us need greater financial sophistication. We need to know the difference between an asset and a liability. We are living much longer and therefore need more financial stability for our retirement years." And last but not least is strategy number 3, and that is paying yourself first. And I really struggled with where I wanted to put this strategy in the video, because ideally this is where you want to start. And in the spirit of paying yourself first, you can actually use this strategy in combination with the other 2 strategies. Strategy number 1, in case you forgot, is the envelope method. You can have an envelope and mark it savings. And every single week or every month, when you get paid, make sure that money goes into that envelope. Or, using the zero-based budgeting strategy, you can make sure that your savings and investments has money set aside first. So instead of going in this order, bills, controllable expenses, fun, and then if anything is left over at the end of the month, then you put money into savings and investments? No, absolutely not, because more often than not, you're gonna spend more and you're not gonna put anything towards savings. So I would recommend put the savings and investments category first. And a little bit of wisdom here is to think in percentages and not in linear amounts. This is the only category that right from the get-go, I would say, have a percentage in mind. Personally, for me, I try to shoot for 10 to 20% a year that I set aside for savings and investments. The higher the number, obviously, the better. But if you're at 0, then that can immediately be improved. Having a percentage instead of an amount is key, because ideally over the course of your career and over time, you should be getting paid more. And that way, if you have a percentage, the amount of money that you're setting aside will naturally increase over time. So there you have it, guys. I want you to change the way you think. Don't be like the common person who says, oh, well, I own a home, I'm set. No, you're not. Times have changed. You need to prioritize your finances. You need to have a plan in place because you want to get to a ripe old age and be able to enjoy it. What good is it to live to 80, 90, 100 years if you're stressing about money every single day of your life? Something to think about. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you tremendously for all of your support. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.